Welcome to my daily review. Today is Wednesday, August 6th, and you're looking at a daily chart of the Nasdaq, which advanced 252 points today, or 1.21%, closed at 21,169. The volume was light again, but we really don't want to pay attention to the volume. And I just, it undercut the 21 on Friday. It made me more cautious, got above it on Monday, and I'm just playing it. So if it stays above the 21, I'm more aggressive. Below the 21, I'm less aggressive. Just keep it real simple. The action today to me was pretty narrow and kind of top heavy with the mega cap tech stocks and also the stocks that had a strong earnings report or the strong responses to their earning report did well. But there was a lot of underlying weakness as well. I'm going to get to some of the winners and losers here in a minute. Just wanted to point out on the weekly here, the index is up 519 points or 2.5%. So, but still an inside week compared to last week, which closed with that inverted hammer candle, was down 2.1%. So just kind of getting back to where we were the prior week, where it closed. Sorry about this toggling back and forth, but it did close at 21,108. Today we're 169. So, last week is kind of I don't want to say an anomaly because, people really got hurt there on that Thursday and Friday, the reversal, but it seems to be we're back to normal this week and we resuming our uptrend, but I don't want to be complacent at all. And if you're a lot of people are, DMing me saying that they're, having a hard time, they're struggling, it's choppy, and that is all true. And that's good feedback to know. If your trades aren't working, then maybe you should step back a little bit. Obviously, I put that post analysis checklist. So use that every time you make a trade. What was the situation and why did it go good or why did it go bad? Anyway, that's it for the Nasdaq. I did want to point out to the RSP, this is the equal weight S&P 500 index, and it was negative today because, like I mentioned, the Apple, the NVIDIA, the Tesla, the Netflix, the Broadcoms, that's what drove the market. But this equal weight, this index makes the smallest cap in the S&P 500, which happens to be in phase, which is only less than 4 billion market cap. I don't know why that's still in the S&P, but that's the equal weight of NVIDIA, which is the largest market cap, 4 point and call it 4 trillion. So, yeah, so I just want to point out the RSP was negative today. So that tells us that driving the indexes like normal were the mega cap tech stocks, and I'll get to those in a minute. I guess I'll start off with Apple, which is um, I don't know. Well, let's just say they're playing politics and winning. How about that? Up 5% today. Still below the 200, still consolidating within a base. So Apple, they had a stronger than expected earnings for me and reported, accelerating sales growth. So Apple, once it gets above the 200, I'll be a little more interested in that one. Tesla had a big move today. Once again, Tesla has not gone anywhere since, let's say it was 300 back in January of 2021. So, what are we talking about? 4.5 years of nothingness for Tesla. So I can't get excited about this one once again, consolidating within a base, but it was up nearly 4%. So that's going to carry the index. I did mention Netflix. This one I was concerned because it sold off after earnings, but it's just consolidating in a base here. It's below the 50, and we've seen a lot of stocks undercut the 50 and rally back above. So that's something to watch for with Netflix. Looks like it's going to give us an opportunity to get in here before the next run. Same thing with Spotify, which I didn't plan on showing here, but I will because this is just consolidating in a base, selling off after earnings, below the 50, but it can rally back through any time. And gosh, since I'm doing this exercise, Robinhood, this to me looks like it's forming this high tide flag pattern and it might not form that base that I was expecting. It's got this little flag here after this poll, and I think this thing could take off here and not just form, a big standard, 8-week cup with handle base. So I'm watching that one closely, and I'm getting way off track here because that's not what I was talking about. But I just get thoughts in my head and start running with it. Anyway, Broadcom. finding support at the 21. Nice day today, up 3%. And that's the kind of stuff that was driving the index today. These are larger cap, 1.5 billion, excuse me, trillion. This is $1.5 trillion stock. The numbers are pretty astounding, amazing, in the technology space here. All right. So I showed you the RSP, and the reason why this is down is because there was a lot of weakness in other stocks, which I'm going to show you in a minute. But what I want to do today is I'm just going to go through a lot of earnings call from yesterday and this morning, and then some themes, although I'm not going to have a lot of time to get through all of them. There's a lot. And then tonight's earnings report, and then tomorrow. So anyway, still a lot of earnings to look forward to, and there's a lot of stocks set up that have earnings, and I just really can't, I can't recommend them. I can't put them on the red list. This is one that I like, but it's got earnings tomorrow. This is nice flag here, but like I say, we're seeing a lot of these, high tight flag patterns. This is MP. They're reporting tomorrow as well, so I'm getting way off topic here, but there's your, flag, whoop de doop, and it actually popped 6% this week. Yeah, so that thing's moving out ahead of earnings, so and up substantially after hours on news. So gosh, I'm sorry, I digress a lot. I wanted to get first of all, last night's earnings. Hello, let's start with STR Labs. This is one that was and after hours last night, it had a lot of volume and it was moving, rapidly, 18%, 20%, 22% after hours. And I thought, man, that thing's a powerful move. So why not take a swing at it? I did mention that 147.39 would be a buy point. So as close as you can get to that area would be fantastic. But what did it open at today? I mean, it didn't give us much of a chance here. I mean, what the 160 was the low, then 162. I mean, it ramped fast. And then, profit taking came in, but still, this is still one to watch, in my opinion. It's gonna allow, some time for the five to catch up, but just a couple of one or two inside days here. I think it's going to go to 200 in a fairly short order. But nice move. Congrats to the longs if you got in this one. A lot of folks said they did. And this is another one of these power earnings gaps that I've been keeping track of, man. This list is getting really long here, but that was one of them. And then, well, I'm going to get to some of the others here in a minute, but for every ALAB, there's an SMCI, Supermicro slicing the 50, 18% with volume. That was not good for those longs. Upstart, another one that reported last week, just pulled back to the 50. Pretty solid report, I thought, but we're all interested in the response to the news and not the news itself. Seen a lot of stocks with good reports sell off, and I've seen stocks with pretty mediocre reports just rip higher. So, each stock's different, each report is different, and we're interested in the stocks going higher, not the ones that are selling off. VSAT, this is my buddy. Yeah, got into this one, and man, this thing has been romping. Just 30%. This is another power earnings gap move here for VSAT. Telecom infrastructure that is breaking out of a stage one base and definitely entering stage two. So yeah, congrats to the longs there. Arista Networks reported last night, and yeah, another power earnings gap here. I've got them written down. I'm gonna have to make another video this weekend on just the ones this week. My gosh, it's only Wednesday, and I've got a whole list of really quality looking gaps higher. And you think, what does that look like on the weekly? It looks to me like it's just breaking out of this old 133.57, not too far above that, but on the daily it's stretched from the five, so it's got to allow some time for it to catch up. And I believe that thing's going higher as well. And the thought process with this is that that they gap higher, institutional support here. They want in, they were going to earn, whatever, $1 this year. And now they have to change their models because they're telling you they're going to earn $2. So they upgrade it. They, raise the prices on it and they buy the stock, but they don't buy it all at once. They buy a chunk here. They come back a week later, buy another chunk, and they establish their position over time. And that's a thought process behind these power earnings gap. You don't just, well, I mean, you can go out and buy this one right away, but Ideally, you let it kind of settle down a little bit and allow this five to catch up. And, the institutions come back and then it ramps to new highs. But, if you want to buy a starter position, you have to own that stock. I don't blame you. Consider that chasing. But in this market, man, yeah, that thing looks pretty good. Hinge Health, I mentioned this one last night. 25% move. I don't see anybody talking about this one, but if you look at on the weekly, this looks like a breakout from an IPO base. I know the original IPO base was here, but this thing's just getting rolling here. And this is one of those IPOs it's not pre-revenue. They actually have, sales growth. I don't know what's going on. This is a one-time charge with earnings, but it's strong sales growth, and they do have cash flow, which is pretty rare for these IPOs that are coming to market pre-revenue. So Hinge Health looks good to me. All right. Uh, KVYO, like I said, a lot of them to get to here today. I just want to give each one their due. This is KVYO. Now it hit the 200 today and got the Matambo treatment that got rejected, but it was still at 15% with massive volume. So one to watch. Don't ignore that one. LEU, this is the energy play. This is one of the top performers in 2025. I don't like this candle, though. It was really ramping today. It looked like it was up, 264 and closed at 232. Ouch. 7% of the daily range. Let's take a look at this. And that doesn't mean that it's over, but there was just some profit takers here. There's only buyers and sellers in the market. There's only support and resistance. And it looks like there was some profit takers here. Why? Well, because this thing's up 545% in the last year. I mean, there's a lot of profits to be had there. So, don't if you bought this one expecting it to go to new highs and it petered out on you and you closed 7% of the daily range, you got to expect some profit taking. And I wouldn't say this move is over. I would say it's probably still in the midst of the move here, and it's just got this, like I mentioned earlier, this high tide flag pattern. We're seeing a lot of these, okay? And it had a little fake out today, fake, breakout, but that doesn't mean it's over. Still up 12% this week. So yeah, don't give up on that one. I had that one on my ready list last week and it was down like 14%. And now it moves this week. So that's just the way it goes. I'm not wrong. I was just early. All right. Excuse me if I can spell this properly. This is one of the Apple suppliers. Had a good report, was up, and then just crapped out for lack of a better term here. There you see the gap at the open and just whoop-de-doop, give you the old okey doke. So that happens in the market. Like I'm saying, these earnings moves are wild. They're really wild. And this is a breakout for ZETA, Catherine Zeta Jones. They had some accounting, I wouldn't say irregularities, discrepancies that were called to light, but they put that to bed. And now this thing looks like it's ready to go, breaking out of a stage one base and into a stage two right there. That is a nice breakout if you're into such things, which I am, obviously. Did I buy this stock today? No, I didn't. I was busy losing money elsewhere. I've had a bad week, quite honestly, but nice move for Zeta. All right, this morning, segueing to my bad week, I had more Dave in my account than I thought because I'm an idiot. I wasn't really looking, I wasn't paying attention. I've been kind of lost since I got back from my vacation. But this thing reported earnings. I thought, okay, the earnings are pretty good. It's going to be fine. And then I looked at my account and it's like, wow, it's down a lot. And then I had like way more of day than I thought. So I just sold everything today. Why? Because it sliced at 50 with volume. I don't really care where it goes from here. I let a profit turn into a loss, and that's just the way it goes sometimes. Yeah, that one hurt. On top of TGTX, a couple of bad moves for me this week, but there's no crying at the casino. So suck it up, Buttercup, and just dust yourself off and get back up there and keep swinging the bat. That's what you do in investing. So yeah, that's the way it goes. Disney sold off after their earnings report. I didn't even look at these today. I just reported on them in the morning. McDonald's had excellent same-store sales, like 4%, and that stock moved 3% higher. McDonald's is fine. NRG, not a great report, and it was down 13%. Yeah, I thought it would get a haircut there. Slice to 50 with volume. Adios, muchachos. NVO, you got to understand what's going on with this company. They have a new CEO, so they threw the kitchen sink in there, making it look, it's awful, horrible. It's the worst of times. And then next quarter when they report, they'll make the CEO look like a hero because they'll beat the lowered standards. But still, if you look at this, 22, 20, 24%, you got accelerating sales growth, you got accelerating earnings growth, 15 to 21. I think they're in good shape for a turnaround. I'm a little biased, but yeah, this thing, somebody said, I keep buying the dip and it keeps dipping. That's a problem with buying dips. It's very hard for me to buy stuff going down. I like to buy high, sell higher because I'm a trend trader, but some people like to buy this stuff because they think they're getting a good deal, and maybe they are right now with Novo Nordisk. Oscar, a lot of well, I better be nice. A lot of people on X are just promoting this stock. It went from 22 to 12. That's not my idea of a good stock, but up 4% on the after the earnings today. Shopify was a big winner along with ALAB and VSAT. Very nice. Power earnings gap, that one, and EXTR. Power earnings gap as well, up 14%. So God, we're getting a lot of these. And if you look at the weekly, this thing looks fantastic. You got the blue dot. I am into it. Just waiting for I would actually expect this one to come back to about 19, maybe pull back to that 5, and then maybe you get a chance to get extreme networks. But yeah, a lot of these are looking good. Then Uber reported this morning. I'm not a fan of Uber. I mean, I get it. It's a great company. It's just a little slower moving stock. It's got accelerating sales, but there's nothing wrong with Uber. Believe me. I mean, it'd be great for a retirement portfolio. But you look at the last year, it's up at 37%, which is fantastic. But the index is up 30%, so it's barely outperforming the index, which is fine, right? Any stock outperforming the index is fine. But it's just kind of a slower mover, and I just never got into uh, Uber. WWW Wolverine. I passed by their manufacturing plant there in Southern California the other day. Thought, wow, Wolverine. They make yeah, military footwear, kind of like more rugged hiking type of shoes. This one popped though 22% this week, breaking out of this stage one base. That looks fantastic to me too, man. There's so many good looking charts here. You can't kiss all the babies, or you can't own all of them, so you just got to pick one. And that's it for earnings. I'm going to segue over to some of my favorite stocks. GEV now, every time it pulls back, people say, "Oh, this thing's crashing, it's crashing," but it's not crashing. It's just, the dips are getting bought in this one. Every time it dips, and you can see here on a longer term chart, I got 15-minute. This dip is bought, this dip is bought, this dip is bought. It dipped, what, yesterday? Or is this today? Yesterday, and it just straight up from there, right? So, as long as this thing's trending above its 5, I'm all in now. And I'm not foolish enough to think that this thing's going to go to the sky and run forever. As soon as it starts to slide, I'm going to be trimming. And if it slices to 21, it's adios, muchachos. Because these growth stocks, they tend to, stairs up an elevator down. So you have to be careful. But that one looks pretty good. OKLO, which traded above 80 yesterday, just a little quiet day today. I like OKLO. That's why I'm showing this one. Earnings next week. I think it's Monday for OKLO, the 11th. And then BE, man, BE is looking good. They had the deal with Oracle. It was up 3% today. And this group, top group, yeah, breaking out here. This looks fantastic, dude. So many stocks looking, sharp, but you got to be in the right stocks. You can't just pick anything because I showed you last night how many stocks are just in stage 4 decline. They look horrible, but they're easy to spot and you just avoid them. I want stocks that are trending higher. This is DHI. Was up today, but it looks like a real quiet day for the home builders. So watching these because these are like a proxy to lower interest rates. GRBK is another one that I am watching, a smaller name. Yeah, nice quiet inside day today for that one. So keep my eye on the home builders. What else do I have here? I'm going to segue to another stronger group. This is the electric power. This is a high type flag type of action. Once again, seeing a lot of this action here, and they're not going to go up every day, but they run up and then they flag. Like I said, institutions don't buy all at once. Let the moving averages catch up with them, and This entire group looks pretty darn good to me. Vertiv had an outstanding report, just pulling back here to its moving average on lighter volume. So I'm watching this one as well. NVT, this one had a power earnings gap last week, and what's it doing? It's just flagging. We're seeing a lot of this, these high tide flags. This thing looks fantastic as well. Had a 3 weeks tight in there. Needs more time, I think, but another one that I'm watching, BWXT in this group of electrical power equipment stocks. Gap tire yesterday, yes, part of our power earnings gap. I got it here. Just an inside day today on lighter volume, which is what you want to see. And then Generac, another one of these ones that I highlighted in that video, and it's just really coming up to its old, what you would call its old pivot point, I would say, the old high there. What is it? 195? Yeah, okay. So give it some time, to handle out here a little bit, but I'm definitely watching this one as well. Allowing the moving averages to catch up in lighter volume, and that's what you want to see. Yeah, because profit takers or just the weak hands, as they say, want to get out of the stock. All right, I'm going to move on to Palantir. Reported Monday, gap tire Tuesday, and then followed through today. It was over 180 last time I looked. Go to a 5 minute chart. Yeah, I think in the middle of the session, closed below 180. What a dog. Yeah, I got up to 180.58 was the high today. Still, needs that five to catch up. Definitely got a magnet for 200. Palantir, one of the stronger names. Roblox pulled back after earnings, like I said. But it was just, it ran up to 150. A lot of people were texting me or DMing me saying, this is a blow off top climax. It's a sign the leaders are cracking. But all it did was come back to the five. But it's nice to have friends like that give you another perspective because you can't have groupthink in the market. That's a killer, trying to fight the tape. You just got to observe what's going on. What is this stock doing? Makes a new high, pulls back to the five and finds support and continues. It's trend here. It just surfing and surfing and surfing the five. This thing is amazing length and duration. This reminds me of Abercrombie and Fitch and Elf, from not too long ago where they had these multi-month runs of just surfing the moving average and pretty easy hold until it does that. But I think that gave you, probably an opportunity to buy, even though I did not have that on the ready list. This is a Cloudflare, another nice day today. The software names are just doing well. I didn't have an area to put Credo in, so I just kind of threw it in here. Nice move today, and this one's just surfing the five. It did pull back to the 21 and find support. They have earnings, not till the end of the month, so Credo looks fantastic. Snowflake, another one. I did mention we're seeing a lot of stocks that are undercutting their 50, then rallying back through. So I'm watching this one. I might put this one on the ready list. Snowflake, they don't report till same day as Credo, so that'll be a nice day. Who else do we have here in this? Oh, I have to mention Rubrik. I get a lot of people like Rubrik. I get a lot of questions about Rubrik. And this is one that undercut the 50 and rallied back through, and I bought it and it gave me the old okey doke and I lost on it. But it's really just consolidating within a base. So I just got to display a little more patience. So yeah, I made a mistake on that one. But once again, if you look at the weekly, you could say that's, that's a flag pattern, right? Or, it's definitely one to watch. But to me on the daily, it's just consolidating within this base. I think it's going to handle out in that 92.99. It will break above it and it'll break above 103. Eventually, I think I mentioned about six stocks early in the year for my retirement account. Rubrik was one, and I got hammered on TGTX and HIMS. Bad week this week. And then Dutch Bros and DoorDash and Robinhood. So they've been doing pretty well until this week. And that's the way it goes in the market, right? It's not linear. It goes up and it comes back. But I still like Rubrik. Anyway, gosh, I digress once again. All right. I got to move to, the stocks that everybody hates, the gold stocks. I'm just pointing it out here, folks. Undercut the 50 here and then just, I mean, that shook out the weak hands, right? I mean, who wants this stock? It's in a downtrend. It's going lower. One thing to notice here on AU is, yeah, the 5 year curled down, but it stayed above the 21, and it did undercut the 50, but then it rallied back and that five just blasting higher. And now we're back into that, whatever you want to call it, that power trend mode. So that's why I kind of watch the five. I don't want to see it curling below the slower moving averages, if I can help it. AEM, another one in this group, doing fantastic. WPM, gosh, which one did I have on my ready list this week? I forgot. Was it GFI? I think it was. Yeah, up 2% again today. So did I buy it? No. Every day I say this, I'm like an idiot. It's only up 20% this week and I didn't buy it. So I sometimes, I have good ideas and I don't follow my own advice. So that's the way it goes. I'm gonna have to run a lap or do 50 push-ups or something for my penance for being a dummy. Did I show ego? You got to have an ego in this business. Yeah, look at this one, man. I know people don't like these, and I don't know what to tell you. I'm just observing strength, and this is showing a lot of strength. And this group is one of the top groups, and they've all, every Saturday I show you that report on the top stocks, and every one of these stocks are up, 30, 40, 50% or more. And well, so I'm just trying to show you strength here. I'm going to go to the drug names. INSM, this is one that I sold today. Not because I don't like it. I like it very much, but it's got earnings tomorrow, and I've seen so many drug stocks blow up. I don't want to get blown up anymore. I got a lot of shrapnel in me this week, and so I don't want any more. But they do have a PDUFA coming up on the 12th, which is what, next Tuesday, and that could happen any day. It could happen tomorrow. It could happen over the weekend. It could happen on the 12th. It could happen after the 12th, but I believe they're going to get an approval and it's going to rip. So after earnings, I'm thinking it's going to sell off with earnings, maybe back to the 21 or something. I'm going to buy it back just for the approval. And if it gets rejected, oh well. If it gets approved, then I'm in the penthouse. So that's the way it goes with the drug stocks. A couple of other ones that are showing relative strength there. RNA, another PEG, whatever you want to call them, a power earnings gap that I had written down here. Man, there's so many of them. I got to be able to read my own writing here. But yeah, nice move here. Um, for RNA, RIGL, I believe this was a earnings gap that I didn't show the earnings earlier, but another power earnings gap for RIGL and in the drug space nonetheless. Two of them in a row. This is amazing because the drug stocks have been absolutely hammered. And this one was up 23% today with nearly 1,000% above average daily volume. This is a thinly traded name and only 16 million shares in the float. But I'm just showing you, just observing the action in the market. It's got this blue dot indicating relative strength. That's RIGL Pharmaceuticals. And the last one in this group is SUPN. This one I traded a long time ago out of Massachusetts, I believe. And another one, breaking out of a base on a earnings call. And we got to look at the weeklies, always look at the weeklies, different time frames. That's breaking out of a, near a pivot point, but I'm not going to put this on the radar list. Why? Because it's way too extended from its moving averages. You got to wait till those moving averages to catch up. But just an idea, just keep these ideas because this is institutional support here. This is 2.3 billion market cap, only 50 million shares in the float, man. So that means it can move really fast. All right. That's it for the drugs. And the last group, sorry for making this such a long video. It's just there's a lot to cover. Wayfair had reported earnings early in the week. I'm not going to call it. Well, yeah, that was a power earnings gap. That's another one. I do have it written down as I look at my sheet here. So that one is looking good and continuing. What you call the gap and go, right? It's not even waiting for the moving averages to catch up. OLLI making new highs today. That one looks good. And then Tapestry, TPR, Dr. No nixed the Capri Tapestry deal. And ever since, this thing's just been a monster, surfing the five, making new highs, I believe today, 112.58. But they have earnings next Thursday, a week from tomorrow. All right. That's it. Thank you for watching at mcstockcharts.com. We never give up, except in honor of the great Steve Jobs. I have some earnings to report tonight, and then we have something to look forward to tomorrow morning. I'm going to start with App 11. Great report from App 11. Beat and raise, all you can do. But like I say, we're interested in the reaction to the news, not the news itself. And it's down 5% after hours. Who knows what could happen to this one? It could blow through 400 tomorrow, or it could, where's that 50 there? 366. Yeah, maybe it'll bounce off all these companies can do is deliver the numbers, and it's up to Wall Street to figure out, what they're worth. But a great report from App 11 DoorDash, phenomenal report. This is one of the six that I mentioned, and I got hammered in HIMSS and TGTX, but this one's coming through for me after hours. And the report was phenomenal. It was 24% sales growth, I think. So you're looking at 25, 25, 21, 24. But they raised guidance, so I guess Wall Street's looking at the raised guidance. And that one looks fantastic. Dutch Bros, I've been talking about this one for a long, long time. I go there every day. I'm sipping on Dutch Bros tea as I speak, as I make these videos. But I did my due diligence here, and it's sold off below the 200. I couldn't figure out why. And I thought, well, maybe somebody knows something, but they don't. Um, they reported a phenomenal quarter. They raised guidance, and they introduced food into their mix in this quarter, and food is a really big hit. And their mobile app is they're just firing on all cylinders. Same store sales, they guided the same store sales at 4.5% for this year. Obviously, taking market share from Starbucks, and I think this is a trend that's going to last for a long, long time. I just think you got to look at a little bigger picture here. Yeah, it's been down like 3 months in a row. I think that's going to change. Um, yeah, starting tomorrow. I think the profile in this is going to change tomorrow up to 68 after hours. Um, yeah, I mean, it's very consistent. I've been to Northern California, Southern California, Northern Arizona, Southern Arizona. The experience is the same. The drinks are the same. The friendliness, the customer service is fantastic. Service with a smile. And there's been CEOs that have said, happy employees make happy customers, and that holds true at Dutch Bros. And I think it's a long-term hold. That's why I'm holding it. All right, Health Beauty, they've been hit with tariffs. It's unfortunate. The CEO originally said he would not pass on tariff costs to the customers because that was their advantage with the younger crowd. They had really cheap cosmetics, but they're passing it on now, and so they're losing customers. And yeah, this one is just I think it's about cooked. Had this nice little cup with handle pattern, but now below 100. Yeah, adios muchachos for Elf. It sliced its 50 prior to the print today. Duolingo, I did see this one was ripping. I did not see the print, but up 15%. Obviously, somebody likes it. IONQ, another one that reported tonight. I did not see the print at all. These ones, a little tough on these ones. These are the ones that are highly speculative, down 4% after hours. Yeah, losing money, very speculative, futuristic type stuff. But if you're a fundamental type of guy, these are hard to buy. And down 4% after hours, not the end of the world. Fortinet, I did see their report. And yeah, I'd say it's not being well received after hours. Probably losing market share. And I think this cybersecurity space is going to kind of weed itself out here, and there's going to be definitely some winners and losers. Fortinet might not be on that right side. I think you got to look at well, I don't know. I like rubric, so just going to leave it at that. Joby reported another one of these speculative names, the air taxis. Yeah, down 2%, not bad after hours, but this is really speculative. I mean, they're losing a ton of money. But if Wall Street, speculators want to speculate and buy this stock and thinking that it's going to be a big winner over time, then you have to go with it, right? Um, DraftKings, the gambling site, somebody likes this one after hours up 6%. Nice cup with handle pattern here. Let's see on the weekly. Look at that. That's a thing of beauty right there. Just waiting for the print. Now it's got the print and it's up 4% today and 6.5% after hours. TPC, this is a Tudor Perini. I've shown this one a lot because it's had this big run. It was surfing the 50. And what happened prior to the print? Well, you see some profit taking and it forms this like a bull wedge type of pattern here, support at the 50, and then pops 20% on a really stellar report. I was impressed. It's got this buy point, call it 52, and it's above that after hours. I don't think the volume's really strong, though, and I think you'll get a chance to get this one. This is a really strong group, the building construction group. I showed you STRL yesterday, how it had this power earnings gap, and yes, that's on my list. And I'm sure TPC will too. My gosh. I'm gonna have to make another video this weekend just on power earnings gaps because these are the stocks that I monitor for the health of the market. Like I said, when we have a choppy market, these things just go sideways. When we have a bear market, they pull right back to their launch point, and we have a bull market, they gap and go. And we're obviously in a strong uptrending market, so um, we're gonna stay green here and watch these gap and go power earnings gaps. Tomorrow morning we hear from Lilly. We're also going to hear from Celsius. Lilly, I don't know. Lilly stock has been in limbo. Celsius undercut the 50. I wouldn't be surprised to see that thing rally back through on earnings tomorrow. VST, the energy name, pulling back to the 21, which is what you like to see. I like to see pullbacks into the print and not just, ramping new highs. And yippee we're going to the moon. QBTS, another one of these speculative quantum names, pulling back ahead of the print, got support at the 50. We'll see what they have to say. And the last one is HUT, which is a Bitcoin miner, and that one's pulling back into the print too. Anyway, I'll have all that stuff in the morning. Thank you for watching at mcstockcharts.com. We never give up. Congratulations to the DoorDash and Dutch Bros longs.